This is my watercolor brush. It's pretty much the only brush that I've used for watercolor for the past year. I have a problem with hobbies where like I want to buy all the stuff for the hobby to like do it at a professional level before I know if I like it, and I didn't do that with this. So I've just been using pretty much this one brush and kit from my dear friend Shannon to like figure out if I like watercolor. But now that I know that I like the hobby, I went to the store and I got a couple things. So today I want to find out if the nice watercolor brushes and paints are worth it now that I know that I'll use them. But for anyone else who's looking to get into watercolor, we can see together if these are worth spending a little bit of extra money on. Here's everything I got. Oh, and some sponges, which I just realized I should be filming all of this in landscape. I got a fan brush. I'm not sure how well this will work, but we'll try it. A paint scraper. And all that they had for watercolor that they recommended were synthetic squirrel. Definitely less expensive than red sable, but I have no idea if it's good. So we will find out together. Couple of different round brushes, a nice little mop brush, and then a good wash brush, along with a couple of different tubes of paint and a nice little palette tray. I didn't really get any shades of like green or other colors, but I have our primaries in a couple different shades and some browns and blacks, so I'm gonna have to mix like every color together. In hindsight, I probably should have gotten a few more colors, and I'll probably go back and get a few more. But one thing I wanted to mention is this is the book that I'm using as law as far as watercolors go. The author, Gordon Mackenzie, thank you for your watercolor wisdom, talks through like which specific pigments to avoid. And so something that I was noticing is on the tubes, not only do they say if they're opaque or not, but they also list what the pigments are in them. And apparently some pigments fade over time, and so the colors can change over time if they're not like the good pigments that Gordon recommends. So I don't know if that's a well-known thing. If there's a list, you can probably Google like which pigments are good. But I do think this book has been a very helpful resource so far. So I won't give away all of Gordon's secrets, but now you know, look at your pigments. Something else that's been just an awesome resource as I've been learning how to paint has been this workbook, the watercolor workbook by Sarah Simon. Excellent job, Sarah. This is a great book. She goes through, you know, all of the beginner steps of like how to mix colors, and you know, you do step-by-step botanical projects. So here's some examples of some that I've done. There's another one. I think my favorite one I've done is probably this one. This one turned out pretty good. This whole painting was just with that one little travel kit and brush. So we'll see if the fancy brushes and the fancy paints make it any easier to do this. And I guess that's also where I've started off maybe in a bad place by having to mix every color together. I'm gonna do this garden bouquet and I'll mix some colors and we'll see how it goes. Also, these are the two nice brushes that I already had. So this is my red sable brush. This might be my only one because I have no idea what this one is made out of, but I think this one might also be a red sable. It's a pretty nice brush. So these are probably the two nicest paintbrushes I own, and these ones have made it into my watercolor kit. Oh, that was pretty. That's nice. It's 1 a.m. I've been painting for like 3 hours. I can't stop. But I think I finally need to go to bed. So the paints are great. The brushes are great. I can't put them down. I'll be back tomorrow, which will be in about 2 seconds for you. It's 3 weeks later. Just to give you an idea, this is like the old paints. Not bad. But the new paints, oh my goodness. The new paints. It's a lot easier to do soft layers of lighter colors. I think some of that has to do with how translucent the paint is. The dry watercolors I didn't have as much control over that. So this is like the dry watercolors, very good and bold, but again, like just look at the layering. Something I noticed that was interesting, my little board would kind of separate out like there's an oil or something, but some of them would stay pretty smooth. Paint still works great if I add water to it. Easier to mix colors with the tubes. Yeah, I think the biggest thing I'm noticing is just the ability to work up layers and lighter colors. There's more control over it with the tube paints. That being said, this is still going to be my go-to travel kit. You can do so much just with this. This is a perfect starting point. I would personally get something like this over a kit that has a lot of colors, just so you can get practice with blending and making colors that match what you're trying to do. If you start to get to the point where you want to work on more fine details, I'm starting to learn how to paint clouds, and so I'm playing around with different textures and things like that. That's where different brushes are kind of fun to play with, but you know, it's harder to go sit on a mountain and paint with like 12 different brushes in your bag if you're trying to pack light. So again, trade-offs, different tools for different jobs, but this is a great starting point. Also get like a little pigment marker for getting started so you can outline things. Micron's nice because they don't smudge if they get wet. Size 03 or 01 or 005 are pretty good for fine lines for getting started, but other brands are great too. Unipen fine line markers, and they come in different colors too. They have a 003 size that's even a finer line than the Micron ones, and I find that the tips on these hold up just a tiny bit better. And then like paper towel, this is all you need. And then if you find out you really love it, have fun with it. Explore the other tools that you can use and have fun just seeing how they make the painting process a little bit different. You don't have to mix every color either. I got sick of mixing some shades of green and brown that were just a little bit tricky, and you can buy green and brown, and that's okay too. The goal for this is to be fun and get the tools that you need to have a good time. Yeah, if you're just getting started, let me know if this was helpful. We can do some, you know, paint together videos if things like that sound like fun. Let me know in the comments. Thanks for tuning in, and happy painting.